All right, this is another live video at Crooked Spine Show. This is Jontrel.
Hey, how you doing?
This is basically with Jontrel. He owns UnoZero Fitness, correct?
Yes.
Okay. He's a personal trainer. I'm going to say professional trainer, not personal trainer, and I'll go over why later. I want to go over your background first. The biggest topic I want to understand, especially going the holidays right now in 2017, how do people get healthy the correct way? If they've worked out somewhat, the problem with working out as I have in the past, you hurt yourself. Okay, when you hurt yourself, you take a step back, you go back at it again, you hurt yourself again. That's why I became a chiropractor, to be honest with you, because I kept hurting myself, doing heavy squats. I'd knock out for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and head back again. So let's find out why, starting with your history. You're a military trainer, correct?
Yes.
Or a master trainer. What is that?
And so in the military, we have a master fitness trainer. What the master fitness trainer does is it creates a better atmosphere for the soldiers to prepare them for war, as well as preventing injuries so they can do their daily mission. In the military, we have a 3-part PT test.
What is that?
So PT test includes push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run.
Fantastic.
So as master fitness trainer, what I was responsible for was ensuring that all soldiers were able to meet that standard and pass.
That's the key, right? Why?
Because if they're not capable of maintaining their upper body strength, lower body strength, and cardiovascular endurance, then they're not going to be mission ready.
What made you a master trainer, or were you picked for that, or how did that work?
So I was selected because I was in better shape than a lot of other soldiers, and because of that appearance, I was sent to a school to enhance that ability.
Did you go into the service knowing that, and thank you again for the service, but did you go in having that physical ability, or what did you do before?
So I personally love working out. So because I had a passion for working out, it made it a lot easier for me to want to stick with it. Prior to me joining the military, I did sports, but I wasn't big on working out, just playing sports. So being in the military and deploying a time or two, you kind of find it something to do. And while I was gone, I figured I would lift weights.
And when you lifted weights and started, and you were trained for that too, what type of training did you carry over to the private sector now?
So a lot of stability training, definitely. Building that upper body strength and your core. That's so underappreciated. I've noticed that everybody wants to lift heavy, but nobody wants to go through the structure.
And that, I think when people understand that, because it does take time and energy and kind of a patience, then you avoid injuries, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And with that too, is something like that meant something who's just a teenager going into service, or how do you correlate this into a private sector person, say in college already, like you do at the colleges, correct?
Yes.
What does that entail?
So a lot of times when they're in that age, they think they know it all already.
So early college kid or high school kid, correct?
I don't need help. I already know how to lift weights.
I'm good.
Yeah. And what happens is, yes, they can lift a heavy weight, but they also damage a lot of they're not allowing themselves to go through the proper range of motion, and in turn they hurt themselves in the future.
And that's what I see too. Someone in my office who's maybe 30, 40, 50 years old, they talk about how they hurt themselves in high school or after high school, and now they're still having injury linger more and more, where it causes scar tissue and then arthritis. Okay, so my job with Jontrel is, how do we avoid someone to do that? What's something you walk through with to get them properly assessed? What do you usually do?
So prior to any session, I have them go through a consultation. During that consultation, I have a set of workouts that I'll have them go through based on what their goals are. If they're looking to get stronger, I'll include something of that nature to where they can have an idea of strength exercise. But at the same time, I'm also identifying their range of motion. I'm identifying if they have any weaknesses or deficiencies. So yes, I'll still accomplish what they're coming for, but at the same time, I'm going to do a certain amount of exercises that are going to allow them to...
Well, if anything, too, I think you're building a lot of where are you? Let's see where your weaknesses are. If we can build those up, that's when your strengths are even stronger.
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay. And that's what I see a lot of, too. And especially with guys, how much is flexibility part of what training is? It's not lifting weights, right? If I'm going to bench press, I'm worried about lifting how much I can flex, right?
And that's probably...
Being sarcastic, sorry.
That is probably the most common thing. Flexibility for males amongst anybody else is probably the worst. because they can bench 315 pounds, but
I can't do that, but someone else can.
Well, when it comes to touching their toes, it's just a struggle.
And why is that important, though?
So the flexibility plays the biggest role because it increases your range of motion. Your range of motion makes you safely go down and come up.
And for example, I use my patients. If I have a short muscle and my muscle can just go this far, that muscle length circumference or surface area is very small. If I have a full range of motion in my muscle, and that's a longer muscle, put more mass on there at an easier pace, correct?
Exactly.
And you're saving a lot of joint pressure too. That would be effective.
Good.
Do you see more of lower body injuries that come in with problems, or more upper body, or what do you usually see?
A combination of both, honestly,
Okay.
Depending on what their background is.
Okay.
If in the military, especially, there's a lot of lower body injuries because of a lot of rucking, a lot of carrying heavy loads.
Well, and a lot of it is too. What I see is people don't understand is if you're going to carry a heavy load, which is fine. How do you stretch before, afterwards, or take every quick injury so overall your body gets healthy in the meantime? See, when I deal with patients, a lot of it is the pre and post work or workout. That's where they don't worry about. There's not a priority of stretching before or stretching afterwards too. There's not that time frame. Someone goes, "I'm gonna work out at 4 o'clock. I'll be there for working out." There's not. I'm going to show up at say 20 minutes, 15 minutes before. Do my stretch, do my warm-up, and then hit the heavier weights. So I think what you're talking about is how do you get someone to understand once you have that platform, and with your students, for example, too, what do you do at the colleges right now as your private sector job?
So I'm actually a military science instructor. So I deal with Army cadets that are preparing to be commissioned officers. I'm also in charge of their fitness readiness.
Wow.
So I advise them on the proper stretching, the military standards, and I also add my little influence of my personal training background to the system. What
if someone is looking at you, okay, he's a master trainer, he gives me the standard, at that point he gives me exactly above the standard. If you're doing above the standard, I'm saying you're almost giving them a shortcut how to get and pass the physical agility test without having to overwork it.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't they listen to you?
Exactly.
That's the key.
They caught on to it real fast.
Oh.
That they have that
They're
extra
smart enough
here at that school, so they definitely take advantage of it. There's definitely no misunderstanding about.
So they pick your brain then too.
Definitely.
Is it mostly males or females at the school you're working with right now?
Both.
Okay.
So it's a good even balance.
Is it mostly just the Army you're serving in, or other armed services too?
So it's only Army ROTC.
Okay.
So and my cadets at the school, it's primarily who I'm responsible for.
Yes. Okay. And with that too, what do you see as for example, someone coming in to get healthier here at Self-Made? Is it called Self-Made Gym?
Self-Made Training Facility.
Self-Made Training Facility. At that point, when you bring them in and being a personal trainer from or professional, I'm saying because of your background, how does that? What's your intro with them? Is it more of let's do an agility test, let's do a quick range of motion test? What do you do with them?
So like I said, I walk them through a generic workout.
Okay.
Whether that's, hey, I want to be able to squat 225.
So you find out their goals first.
So whatever their goal is, I focus on their goal,
Okay.
but at the same time I'm checking, hey, can they pick this up without leaning forward too much? Can they squat without their knees going in? Can they lift the shoulder? Can they shoulder press without their arms going too far forward?
So when they come into your facility, at that point you're training them. Do you want them coming in with a certain amount of workout ability first, or you want them coming in just rough off the bat? What's not a better client for you, but say for example, a client you just mentioned too, and they come in, say they're someone my age, 43 years old, they've worked out somewhat, and they want to get the next level. So what we're talking about right now is more of working on their form, seeing their form coming into the gym, and at that point fixing it over time.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I prefer clients who've already had some background of working out. That not only because it makes it a little bit easier to take them to the next level, but it also lets me correct some of the injuries that potentially could happen.
So you want someone coming in that is teachable,
yes,
has some workout experience, has some muscle build, some cardio for one, two. They know what they're doing. We want to make it better for them.
Yeah, I want to make sure that they're completely doing everything safely as opposed to the YouTube videos.
Yeah. Okay, and that's only usually one angle like this video here. A lot of it, I think, is when you talk about it too. Once you've gotten this form, how long does it take them to correct the form usually? What's a good window? How many days, weeks, months?
So my rule of thumb is about 30 days.
30 days, okay.
In 30 days, they'll definitely be able to see a drastic change in their range of motion. And that's provided not only training in the gym, but as well as at home stretching. Waking up stretching.
Huge.
When they're at work and they're idle, stretching.
Unless you want to do 24-hour boot camp where you're stuck in here for 24 hours, realize what Jontrel is saying, which I say to my patients too, is you have to do things on your own. Because we sit in a car most of the time or sitting in a chair all day long, our hip flexors tighten up. Our body will naturally come forward. By doing things at home, and what Jontrel and I agree on, it allows you to have, when you come in the gym, now you maintain a certain amount of flexibility. That point can do more and more and more. If you come in once a week, you've done nothing on your own, we're just going to start over again.
If you don't stretch on your own, then it's causing, now the time that we're spending in here, instead of doing the fun stuff.
You can throw your money away if you want.
We have to stretch longer because I have to make sure that you're doing it safely.
And with that too, your 30-day period, you're increasing someone's flexibility. Are you testing how much they can lift at the same time? Okay.
So a typical program, for example, would be, yes, bench pressing, maybe 3 sets.
Okay.
Then I'll include
2 sets of 10, whatever it is.
Yeah, 3 sets or whatever. And then I'll have them do a stability drill. Maybe it's laying on the ball, on the Bosu ball, and doing bench press on their, working on their core. I'll also have them stretch for an additional 5 minutes prior to working out. Maybe do some one-leg exercises to work on their balance. So they're still working on strength exercises. However, I'm increasing their balance, I'm increasing their flexibility, I'm increasing their range of motion.
So maybe doing bench press, but their core is working at the same time.
So I'm targeting as many areas as I can without taking away from their goal, because nobody wants to pay for something if they're not getting what they asked for.
Exactly. So you get what you asked for example, lifting more weight up, I'm assuming, if that's what your goal is, which is, I guess, the reason you want to come in, but do you want your overall body healthy?
Exactly.
If your core is weak and try to lift heavy weights, can you hurt your body?
You're putting yourself in so much risk.
Huge. So you want that balance, so your upper and lower body work together to overall stay strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much
With
it.
that too, a lot of it, what I see, my patients, when they come in and lift heavy, with the bad form, they want to go heavier and heavier. Is that a mentality thing? Is that psychological?
It's all ego.
What do you mean by ego? 'Cause I know what ego is, but what do you mean by ego?
So nobody wants to take the time, and I was guilty of it as well.
As I was too. That's why I became a chiropractor myself.
I'll lift heavy, and why would I go down in weight? I'm doing it correctly if I can lift it up.
Exactly.
And then I hurt my shoulder. And when I hurt my shoulder, there's nothing worse than somebody who loves going to the gym and can't go because the shoulder is involved in everything.
Was it bench press or was
bench press?
Okay.
225.
That's all it was.
It's all it was, and it wasn't even. It's pretty depressing thinking about it. But
did you tear it? I mean, I'd say to myself, did you tear it or what?
I didn't tear it. It was just, I think it was a reality check for me. Like, hey, you need to stretch more.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 24.
Cool. I'm not curious. How old are you now?
32.
So you had about 8 years to kind of learn as you went.
Yeah, so now, anytime I see myself messing up with a bench press, I'll drop the weight. There's no shame.
Because there's always tomorrow, right?
Exactly. And
unless there's a show coming up or something.
And even then, it's what good are you if you can't lift lighter weight correctly?
Exactly. I have a lot of people that have heavy physical labor as part of their occupation. When they can't lift, they kick them off the job.
Exactly.
They're done.
Because your livelihood comes from that. So what do I look like as a trainer not being able to show you an exercise correctly and I have a sprained shoulder or a bad knee because I had incorrect form? It's
almost you might be able to walk the talk, gives you more credibility that way too.
And not to mention is my overall safety. I mean, my health is, I have to make sure that I'm doing it as well.
And part of it too, I think a lot of it is when you walk the walk, at that point people see that and go, hey, he can do it, why can't I?
Exactly.
If I see a trainer on crutches, then did he do something dumb? Or did he do something to overdo it?
Exactly.
For one, too.
And when it comes to lifting weights, ego, like I said, ego probably is the biggest cause of injury.
Well, and they look at someone else next to them and go, okay, look, I can do that too.
Exactly. Or I'm bigger than this guy, so obviously I'm doing something right.
Well, and going back to it too, going to someone who has not worked out before or has, they may be recovering from an injury. It may be coming from, okay, I've worked my tail off, but now I have high blood pressure, I'm overweight. The doctor says I'm taking time off for a heart attack. My clothes are getting way too big for me, and the holidays coming around, I can't get any bigger. How do you work with them?
So in those particular situations, I have to go over what their overall goal is. That's the biggest thing. That's the first thing I always start with. What do you want?
Good.
Once I find out what they want, now I'm going to tell them what they need.
Is it what they want physically or what they want emotionally?
Both.
Difference. Okay. Good.
So
Good,
different.
perfect.
Everybody has different reasons
Yeah.
to why they want to lift weights or lose weight or gain weight.
Why are they here?
Exactly. So I can't assume. But you want to lift weights. Your motivation may be you just are self-motivated.
Yeah.
But me, I need somebody yelling at me.
You want to find out what their personality is like.
Exactly.
I remember when I was in high school or college, going to joining 24-Hour Fitness or another club too, and say Valley's before also, and going and getting hooked up with a trainer say for 2-3 visits, part of my membership, and they're high school kids.
Yeah.
Or they're college kids who played football, so now they want everyone to become a football player.
Exactly.
So you're trying to get their mindset first, build their workout, I'm assuming, to what they need versus and what they want, obviously.
I also always want to include what they want.
Perfect.
That's the biggest thing. But I also like explain to them up front, like, I understand you want to be able to squat 415.
Yeah.
Or 405.
Maybe 115 would be good too.
But we're going to get there. But in the meantime, go ahead and pick this ball up and squat.
So let's build to that routine.
Exactly.
Say, do you give them a time frame when that's going to happen, or?
And so I'll tell them, look, 30 days is the goal for this much weight.
Okay.
From this.
From where you are now.
Exactly.
Okay.
I try to be as realistic as possible.
Okay.
Sometimes the realistic.
Life.
Yeah.
Humans.
It is what it is. Sometimes.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to lose weight overnight.
Exactly.
You have some accountability for it. You have to make sure you're not sneaking Doritos at work or drinking all week.
Well, you said too when we talked earlier, you keep accountable, so you're always available to them.
Always.
If they want to call you, check in with you, whatever it is.
Always. I have an app that actually monitors the progress.
Progress of their exercise, nutrition, or both.
Both.
Okay.
So there's no reason for anybody to say that they weren't able to reach out.
What is that app called, out of curiosity?
It's a self-made training facility app.
Good, perfect. So what I'm going to do is make sure to put the link in the show notes too,
absolutely.
in the post. That went along with your information on Jontrel too, so they see that. Okay. How does the app work? Just as a mindset, but for someone on the podcast, how do you give them the visual of how the app works?
So basically the app consists of a calendar. Instead of having paperwork that you have to take home all the time,
so you can see it.
You can see it. I can track the progress. You can see the difference, whether it's photos, whether it's your weight, your body fat. A lot of times with training, especially, you have to see the results for you to believe that.
You want to see a number. You want to see a weight.
You want to see something.
Okay.
And what that app does is it reassures them, like, hey, I'm doing really good, or I need to pick it up. And not only can you see it, I can see it. So when you get that message that says, hey, you need to pick it up. You're
not on pace right now.
Everyone's on the same page. There's never a misconception.
Good. At that point, it keeps them in their mindset all day long, hey, where am I? And I think by doing that for 30 days, the habit of not doing it gets replaced by the habit of doing it.
Exactly.
And what I realized too, we talked about before, Jontrel, is you are always going to have habits. Habit of working out or habit of not working out. And when you're in one of them, you have to gain momentum to get to the other one. And what Jontrel does with the app and with the workout and making you accountable, making him available to you 24/7 basically, at that point, that builds up that habit. And I think by doing that, you're getting them to see the results, even just short term. Okay? And someone coming in, do you worry if they had diabetes or high cholesterol or some other, short term lifestyle condition?
So during the initial consultation, again, during the workout, I'm asking them 1,000 questions. Not to know their whole life story, but just to know.
Make it safe.
Exactly. Because the worst thing I can do, the service I can give anybody is to make them do an exercise that they have a previous injury for that they haven't recovered from, or if they have asthma, have them do sprints. So I'm asking questions like that. I also require a waiver if they have any prior medical issues.
Yeah.
I need to see something at least from the physician just admitting that, hey.
Assuming too, working as a master trainer in the Army, you dealt with that a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So you deal with not, in the Army, I'm assuming you're dealing with probably 30, 40, 60 kids, not one-on-one.
Exactly.
So your experience there has to carry over to something in a personal training. We're having to monitor what you're doing. If something hurts, let me know. If it's injury, let's figure it out.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of people, what they'll do sometimes, especially from a long result, sometimes realize, is it always going to feel good when they train?
No, it's going to be terrible.
Sure. Good. So what do you mean by being terrible? I like terrible.
Well,
they're saying, listen today, it's called enjoy the suck, right?
It's going to be one of those things where it hurts so good.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, when you're doing it, it's going to be torturous. You're going to, why do I have to pick this up? I'm tired.
Why is Jontrel so mean to me?
And then at the end, you're like, why is he still smiling? And then you realize all the good work you've done. So then it's, okay.
When you're smiling, you're getting closer to the results. You're on pace. You're on point.
Exactly.
At that point, you're seeing you getting to where you need to get.
And it's that motivation. I'm here to motivate.
Huge. And a lot of it's going to be positive in the sense where, hey, I want you there. I'm going to push you more than you used to. You're not going to like me because you have to make your body change. Your body is certain chemistry, hormonal levels, movement patterns, breathing issues too. You have to get beyond that to get better. You can't stay where you are because that's where you are right now. That's why you're here. At that point, move on by making yourself uncomfortable, enjoying what's happening in that process, seeing the end result, right?
Yep.
Okay. Say beyond 30 days, maybe someone just starting to work out, say overweight, having some injuries, or someone who's working out too. What's the 60, 90-day goal with them?
So it's all dependent on what their overall goal is.
Okay.
So if strength is their goal, then we're going to set smaller goals, short-term goals rather, to, well, you want to increase by 10 pounds? Well, we'll have you gain, this is the goal by this date.
Good.
We need to go to this point. If by 90 days your goal is to gain 25 pounds or lose 50 pounds, then after the first month, if we're not on track with you losing that first 15, then we need to adjust something.
Something's not working.
Somebody's not holding up their end of the bargain, whether that's me not pushing you hard enough or you sneaking snacks.
Yeah.
Or not doing your cardio.
Well, a lot of it, I think you're helping them change the mentality. Hey, look, it's up to me. I'm 20, 34 years old. I'm an adult now. I have to be accountable to realize I'm going to pay Jontrel to train me. I'm going to pay him what he's worth, but I do my part too. He can't watch me 24/7. He's not going to come home and lock my fridge for me. Okay?
I'm available to help, but at some point in time, it's on them.
The self-discipline, but again, I think sometimes the anxiety of having long-term conditions, having, say, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or even joint issues too because I'm overweight or inflexible or causing arthritis too, that helps me understand if I do it now, my life later will be better. My life, my family, my kids, my wife, my spouse, my husband will actually be better too. Do you see people attitude change too, and what time frame do you see that?
Absolutely.
How does that attitude change?
Usually it happens after like a week or two, to be honest.
That's a quick run.
They start to build their own confidence, especially those who hardly ever work out.
Yeah.
To having that initial stress to their body.
Got it.
The changes, it's amazing.
So what do you see in them? What example would you see?
A lot more confidence.
Okay.
Definitely confidence is probably the biggest thing. They're a lot more eager to lift weights, come to the gym. It's not like
they're here early, not like 5 minutes late.
Gotta go again. It's enjoyable for them because they know what they're doing. They're accomplishing something.
And you're working with them too. You're working within their tolerance. So even though you're pushing them hard, they're not getting hurt.
Exactly.
They might be sore, but they're not getting hurt.
And if the exercise becomes too easy, or it doesn't look like they're pushing themselves, I would just fire during the exercise, just so they can continually increase.
I think, and you're getting to the point to where you're getting people to understand, I can work out, and Jontrel's going to give me that tolerance range, that upper apex, where if I go beyond that, I'm going to get hurt, or it's going to be too bad. At that point, if I can get here slowly, the long-term benefit of moving, say, 2% every workout just up is going to be better than going up and down, up and down, right?
And at the end of the whole process, at the end of the process itself, just knowing how to properly exercise after the training is complete saves you so much heartache in the future. Huge.
And I think if you're younger and say 20 or 30, I'm 43, so I'm old at this point. I'm on my way out. But if anything, if you can work out properly, you can avoid injury. That's what I see every day in my office. Avoid, especially low back injuries, if you lift the right way. Okay? We all want to get healthier. We want to do it as simple as possible. working out with Jontrel, what I've talked in the past and experienced in both military and private sector, lets me know he has credibility and expertise and knowledge to get you to that point, 30, 60, 90 days out. So at that point, if you go, okay, now I'm good, great, go. But if anything, get your first 60 days in there, even 90 days, so you make sure you're where you want to be, and then maintain that based on your discipline, your confidence, you can do it on your own too. And again, avoid injury, that's the teaching. I want to see people, I don't want to see everybody. I'm going to get too busy. But work out the right way. Anything else, Jontrel, to get into for our first video?
My biggest outcome that I actually prefer to see after every client is, I don't need you anymore.
Good.
That is probably the greatest thing I could ever hear.
And go, I agree.
Exactly. Because that means not only are they confident enough to do it themselves, but they're confident enough to do it correctly by themselves.
Perfect.
So, and that's...
Well, and I think a lot of it is you're getting people to see, once I've done it correctly myself, I've got to where I want to get, at that point I know how to go, if I go backwards, how to get back again.
Exactly.
You're making them their lifestyle, you're teaching them life lessons, physically healthy, which goes over to their overall emotional health, their physical health, their spiritual health too. You're helping their overall body be better.
And they can take that with them and use it in different aspects of their life.
Why not?
Because if you know what the base is,
yeah,
you know how to start. Once you learn the base, then you're good from there. You can always start back from the base, but it's hard to start back from an injury because you're already starting with -50 against you.
Exactly. You're starting from a point where you're unstable as it is.
Exactly.
Building on top of instability versus building on a good base to where that foundation will always be there for you. All right, Jontrel, anything else?
That's all.
I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Quick and Spine Show again. It'll be up on our Facebook page. I'll make sure we're going to add Jontrel's Facebook page, Instagram, also on there too. Also his phone number, contact him. Also the app we talked about too. Links for him, all right? So enjoy the show, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you.